coming up on The Source.
The kind of guns that they are purchasing, is it really for the street?
I was shocked she did that in front of us, like how she talked to him, what she was saying to him.
Some people who push back on it, but I think overall it should pass.
The millennials are coming. Good evening. This is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
Shanae Darby.
And welcome to The Source. Well, today there is a whole lot going on. Gun violence in America is just out of control. I don't understand why there are a group of individuals who are in charge of the Senate and the Congress will not act on the purchase of guns, how we use them, whether or not these mass destruction guns need to be available. But what happened in Kentucky kind of, I think, is really showing that we're going to have to do something about it. So if you don't mind, let's just start off about today's show by just talking about the bank. And I felt so bad for the governor, who it was his personal friend who were killed as one of the people who were killed. So let's talk a little bit about that if you want to.
Yeah, so just to give a little background information, last Monday, at least 5 people was killed. Others are injured right now, but 5 people were killed. One of those people was a very close personal friend to not only the governor, Andy Brashear, out in Kentucky, but a lot of federal politicians. So both Rick Scott from Florida, Mitch McConnell from Kentucky, who's the area. This was a downtown Louisville bank where this happened, and it's the 146th mass shooting of the year here in America. It's
And those numbers are high compared.
Those numbers are extremely high, and we keep seeing this time and time and time again. Now, it happened at Old National Bank. The shooter, Connor Sturgeon, was 25 years old. An employee of the bank.
Was he being terminated or something of that nature?
Probably. But the ages of the people who've been killed are 40, 63, 45, 64, and 40. And again, it's just real interesting to see how the media has handled this case as well too. They try to pit out that he did community service, all this other stuff. Fox News is actually running an article as we speak right now of get to know who the real Connor Sturgeon was. But yet, whenever it's a unarmed black man being killed in America, they always go to the record. They did it for George Floyd. They did it for Trayvon Martin. I'll never forget that article that Fox News put out. Oh, he had trace amounts of marijuana in his system. No, that doesn't mean you deserve to die.
Absolutely.
Right.
But we keep having this issue throughout America.
Yeah, I remember reading an article. They said the mom called 911 to let them know because the roommate told her. And I was like, first, why didn't the roommate call 911 first? But to me, and the 911 dispatcher kept questioning her. It was like a lot of like, nah, take this serious. Like, and I think it was happening though as the mom was calling.
She said in the middle of her call, she said, "Oh my God, there's been a shooting there." Because the mom didn't think he had a gun, because she said that he did not have a weapon. I think that's how she started off, and it was really interesting that while she was talking to him,
Yeah,
all
it
the
was
reports.
doing that. And why didn't the roommate call though?
Well, because I don't know, but
Yeah,
I even want to know, what is Mitch going to do, and what is the brother from Florida going to do? I think that's where he's from. The other brother you named, the other senator,
Rick Scott from Florida.
Now that this has come to the front, what are they going to do?
And
Right.
was Connor even a person who had a history of mental health?
No.
No, he was just angry. He
No,
was
he was just
upset
angry.
and angry. I guess he was about to get fired. He was not doing too well at the job. So it's even past, even if we do screen people, which I think is important and we still need to do,
Mhm.
there's still just the people who are just angry, frustrated, who can get access because they don't have mental health issues, who can still do things like this.
Mhm.
But I think having tighter restrictions on who, based on mental health and other conditions, will lessen
But
the gun
certain
violence.
guns are not, and let's make this clear, because I'm tired of. I agree. You should. When I had to go through the process, they had to check my life out, and I agree with that. I agree
Mhm.
that you should check a person's life out to make sure there's no mental issues. Although some people disagree with that, that there's no other issues that will stop them from or cause them to use it for the wrong purpose. But the kind of guns that they are purchasing, is it really for the street? Is it really for hunting? Is it really for protection? And that's why we have to really address the fact, should it be legal to sell, what is it, KR, what do they call those fast shooting guns?
AR.
15s, I think they call
Yeah.
them. Is it really, what is the purpose for that? Is it outgun? For those who believe in police and believe in that we should support the police, those guns outpace them when they come in to arrive at a situation.
Well, here's the thing about Kentucky, and you know me, I'm the policy nut. Um, in Kentucky, that gun that was used in that shooting has more rights than anyone else.
Yeah.
There's actually a clause that says that that gun, within, I think it's like a 15-day period, right? The investigation is not even going to be over by that time, is to be auctioned off
Yeah.
to a responsible
Yeah.
gun owner.
Yeah.
So instead of having it destroyed once the case is over, they're going to auction it off. And there are some sick people out there who wants this firearm. There was people who put in bids for the Buffalo shooter's firearm and for Parkland shooter's firearm.
Mhm.
It's some people out there that will want this, but that piece of metal has more rights than a lot of the people out there.
Sad. It's just sad. And I feel bad because nothing we can do other than to protest, other than to raise our voices. These weapons of mass destruction that they're allowing people to purchase legally. But you know how you can really stop it? Can I give y'all an answer how we can really cause it to become illegal?
Yeah.
Honestly, can I give you a real answer?
Black people start buying guns.
Let black people start buying them. So I think what we should all do. No, just let me stop, because I would hate for people to go all get them. But if they start seeing black people buying those weapons, what's going to happen is they're going to start putting some kind of restrictions on them.
You saw it in California.
Yeah, when the Black Panther movement, when they started walking around with guns, they started putting all these gun laws and restrictions. So yeah, you're so right.
Because they scared of use peoples. But then let's move it a little bit further, because you asked the question about the mental. Was there any mental health concerns? But what the exact same thing? What's going on here in the city of Wilmington, right here in the section of South Bridge? A gentleman was stabbed himself, and then I guess according to the article, kind of the police told him to drop it, or to drop it, and he did not, and the officer shot. This is, none of this is factual as other than what we read in the paper, but he was having a mental breakdown or meltdown, and that response is shooting him.
Yeah. So 600 block of South Hill Street. Yesterday or Wednesday morning, a call was made about a suicidal man. Right, that should be a red flag when going out. Right now, this reminds me a lot of Walter Wallace.
Okay.
Walter Wallace was killed at the end of 2020, around October 2020, up in Philly. And the crazy thing about that, I watched that live because someone was on their Facebook Live and it went viral as he was interacting with the cops. He also had a knife. This guy here in Wilmington, 35 years old, was actively stabbing himself, but was advancing towards officers with the knife, I guess, in his body, and they fired at him. Now he's in the hospital now, and I think from the police side of things, they said it's life threatening. from the stabbing, not from the bullets.
Mm.
But as of right now, at the time of this taping, he is still alive, but he still is in the hospital in critical condition.
And I would love to see the body cam footage.
Yes.
Yes.
Number one. And then number two, this goes to some of the work that I've been trying to do and work with the mayor administration on having community response teams.
Yeah.
So maybe if a social worker or someone would have responded with the police officer or been first on the scene, they may have been able to de-escalate the situation, right? So it didn't escalate to that point. However, I had a meeting with the police chief asking for a community response team where we have a free assessment that can happen for the city. And he said he is not interested in having an outside entity respond. He is interested in building community engagement teams within the Wilmington Police Department, which will be police officers who respond to community issues. And he said they already implemented some of it. There's like 2 officers assigned to the north side, to the east side. So they already start assigning people. So they want to put money and get more funding to have more police officers respond to community stuff. But we know they're not trained for that.
That's what I was going to ask you. That was a
They're
question I was
not
gonna ask you.
trained for that. They don't go to school to be a social worker, a psychologist, a therapist. They're not trained to do that, right? So I don't know why we think, and I'm not saying that police officers shouldn't be more community engaged. I think that should be that, but I don't think the investment or focus should be on building these teams out to respond to people in these situations when police officers are, one is an unequal balance of power when you walk around with a gun and you're interacting with the community who's not. Well, most of us aren't having guns, you know.
I
Well, most of us don't. So it's make an unequal balance. And even if you do, you're black and you're just
understand.
yeah, it don't even matter.
Yeah.
That trumps it. So like having those conversations in the city administration and our police chief unwilling to develop a community response team right here is telling even more reason why we need something like this, because it could have been a difference. It could have changed, and I'm so glad he didn't die. Hopefully he doesn't die in the hospital. I don't know how bad or where he got shot.
He got shot in his groin.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's not too bad, but I guess you can bleed out anywhere.
No, that's bad.
Yeah, well, in actuality, the main artery. That's bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is not a good thing. But going back to even the chief of police saying, and I understand his philosophy of wanting the police department to respond to community issues, concerns, but he has to understand that he has to have trained people within the police department, like a social worker, like a crisis management person who have been certified to be such, to respond with police officers. Because if what the reporting is true, they called saying there's a person who's trying to kill himself.
Yeah, that automatically,
Should've
if we
triggered
had a
it.
community response team, it would have automatically triggered a community response team to either respond by themselves or respond with police officers, depending on if there was a knife, then maybe there was a situation where that needed to be a 2-partner collaborative thing. But to just have a police officer respond, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They're probably yelling at him to put the knife down.
And he's probably confused.
And he's probably
Especially if
confused.
you're having a mental meltdown. It's like, okay, and I have to say this, even we were talking in our office today, and I was sharing with them that it's sometimes it's a little scary that we think that because we may be sane or we have all of our faculties functioning the way it should be, that everybody else is. And if a person is in a crisis, there's a certain way you have to handle them. You can't handle them the same way. And we have to stop putting a stigma on that, and we have to help them. It is a mental health issue. And for the chief of police to say, we're not interested, and maybe he just didn't understand what you were saying.
No, he understood. It was 4 people in the room, and we all explained it to him.
But he has to, somebody has to understand that we're not just targets. The way you solve an issue is you take them down. No, there is a way of talking to a person, and the person was doing all this harm to himself. What if they were hollering and screaming at him, and he started going towards them? That's why the footage of the cameras is going to be very key.
Yeah, it's not just the footage of the camera we want the body-worn camera footage, completely unedited.
Yeah, raw.
Yeah.
Unedited.
Right, with the sound, 30-second delay, we understand that. But we want to hear the whole interaction, the commands that were said, and the actual interaction that was had. 2, we want a full litigation hold on all communication. So from that radio call that originally came out to them, from that 911 call, We want it all held for this investigation. And I know they said the DOJ is going to do their use of force investigation with this. We know that sometimes with the DOJ, that use of force report could take up to a year sometimes. For Lamont Moses, it took 11 months. For other cases, it's taken maybe 4 months. So it depends how fast they work in their caseload as well too. But we want all communications to have that hold on it. Why this
Now, for people
investigation
who
is
are
going on.
watching us, when you say we want that, who is going to be responsible for legally making sure that is held?
So that is up to the family,
Mm.
and whoever they choose to be their attorney.
Okay.
But I think as a city
Mhm.
that pays for this police department, we also have a right to know.
Mhm.
In 2021, we passed statewide body worn camera program. Me and the mayor went at it in 2020. And he broke his promises and didn't try to spin it for a campaign thing while also attacking me. But we have body worn cameras in Wilmington. We have them for a reason. We want to see the footage when things like this happens. He's gonna say, oh, we can't show it because it's gonna get people upset. Well, if you can't show it because people are gonna get upset, then that means you must take action to correct that wrong.
Right.
If the officers were in the wrong, then they need to be gone. If they weren't, then they're not. They did their job good.
Because
But the community should know. You shouldn't let that just be out there because what the community's saying right now is something completely different than what was in the papers.
and that's the transparency piece is very much needed, and that's one of the reasons why I'm saying I want to see it so that I can understand the developmental piece. Do we really need crisis management people with the police department? Seeing that, forget about the legalities of whether or not the officer act too, and although that matters, don't misunderstand me. I'm not running away from that, but
Mhm.
this is proof. This is research to say yes, we do need it, even though the chief may say we don't need it. Well, here's proof.
Right.
So I think it's going to be important that the things that you're requesting, I hope that it is preserved so that you'll be able to make that they'll be able to make that happen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I what I wanted to also share is that with this whole branches of government, who holds who holds the right now you have the legislative branch
Mhm.
and you have the administrative branch.
Mhm.
Where's the judicial branch?
We don't have one in Wilmington now.
We
Wilmington,
don't have one in Wilmington.
there used to
Yeah.
be a Wilmington
Educate me.
court system, but they got rid of it
Who is
decades
they?
ago. I guess it
Whoever
was
was counsel in the 90s.
yeah, the
Huh?
council in the 90s voted on it for the charter change, and then it went down to the General Assembly, and then everything was kind of absorbed into the DOJ.
Mhm.
So now this is why Delaware is one of the few states, I think we're one of two states
Thank
that
you.
have no DAs.
Wow.
Everything is just centered around the prosecution of the Attorney General.
Unacceptable. And you want to know why the mayor can do what he wants to, why the city council can do what they want to? They have no one to hold them accountable. If you're not rich, shut up. If you don't have a lot of money, go under the rock. That's unfair.
Mm,
Wilmington, Delaware should be respected to the same level, although we may be smaller as the other cities. So for them not to have one, that blew my mind. See, I learned stuff as we are going along.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, because I've not really had to deal with it, because, if I need to use attorneys, we have some of those. But
mhm.
to know that a person who has a legitimate concern have nowhere to voice it,
Yep.
we already don't have any media, is totally unacceptable.
Yeah, and even yesterday I did a guest speak talking about politics at the Tatnall School, and I was explaining to the kids that there's only two branches of government, and even they were like, "That makes no sense. That doesn't even seem like a fair system of accountability." I said, "Tell me about it."
But what we got to do, and I'm going to move on because we have one more item we want to share in this cover, is what we got to do is we have to really let that be a question for all these candidates. We got to have people running. We got to get the city council in a place that needs to come back. See, that becomes one of my issues now because how is it that we don't have somebody to hold those folks together?
And even outside of city council, you have to have a general assembly, state Wilmington delegates who are willing to take that charge
Oh, we're going
on,
to have that.
right? And Some of them are friends with.
We will have that.
Okay, all right.
Because we will have that. I'm scared. No, not that I got no power, but some things I'm willing to say. Oh, let them not. I can't believe that. I'm gonna make some phone calls to some of our representatives. How could this be? And I want to know who was the council then.
Yeah,
It was in the 80s, the 90s. What was it in? Do you remember when?
I don't remember the
it was the
exact year.
90s. That's all I know is the 90s.
wow.
I remember when they said I was like, darn, I was a toddler when they did that. I don't know why
You were a toddler.
I couldn't even speak out about it.
Okay.
Like,
That's why
like
they got it through.
that's why they got it through. Because I would have been like, that makes no sense. It's like they teach you in government there has to be 3 branches. That's how our system works.
Well, that's why now we have the answer to why the American care less what you say about him, what you do. All the corruption and everything else can just happen unless it becomes a statewide issue. It's just what it is. And no one holds the city council accountable. No one holds the mayor's office accountable, but yet we continue to complain. That has to become strategic. One more thing before we go to our commercial break. Christiana Mall, the shooting last Saturday. It's weird because, and I know this may sound weird, but my dog didn't have her dress for Easter.
Oh, the dog got a dress.
You should see it before you leave today. You got to see it. She's beautiful. She had her hair done and everything. And as I'm walking into the mall, I'm enjoying everything because everybody was shopping and everything. But I wasn't there. I had just left, and then I'm hearing crazy that there's a shooting and 5 people, I think it was, got shot. Or got injured.
Yeah, 5 people got injured outside of the shooting. 3 people were actually shot.
Right.
So at around like 6:45 this past Saturday, there was an incident at the Christiana Mall right by Barnes & Noble in the food court, right outside of the food court where the entrance is. There was 3 teens who approached an 18-year-old. They started fighting. Then the 18-year-old, 2 of his friends jumped in as well too. And that's when one of the original 3 that started the fight pulled out a handgun and started firing. The 18-year-old was shot. And then one of the 18-year-old's friends, who was 16, was also shot. And then there was another 18-year-old who was on the outside of the building, like through the doors. I guess the bullet may have ricocheted or something, who was also shot on the outside of the entrance. So again, the store went into, the entire mall went into lockdown. I had a friend who was locked in the back of the Apple store for a few hours until the police came through. The state police came in and had to clear everything. But as of right now, I don't believe anyone was caught. Any of the shooters were caught.
They showed the picture that I'm walking in with ski mask, 3 like.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I hope our team will be able to show that.
For the amount of money that goes into the Christiana Mall, I have to say I'm disappointed in the surveillance cameras there.
Yeah, my doorbell camera better than that.
Yeah, like Ring. I mean, listen.
Yeah, I got.
You know, the footage here is just absolutely horrible quality. For it to be such a
that could be
thriving
anybody.
mall.
They was dressed in all black with ski masks.
Yeah.
That
Well, no, they skinny, so it can't be mixed.
Well, yeah, they were skinny. You know how many skinny people wear all black?
Yeah. But I do say that gun violence in our country is out of control, and I think we need to probably make sure that the legislation starts saying, since they're not doing anything about these guns, that the malls and the different areas that public, like our church, we have cameras everywhere. And the police department does. They and I don't want to go too far in talking, but you got to have an up-to-date system. You got to, but if a crime happens, you got to be able to contribute whichever way you can. You know, so when we tell you, Kobe, we saw when you pulled up, we could tell you exactly what time from the second you pulled up, and it's always late, so you'll know. It's always
Yeah.
But you show up, and that's all that matters to us.
Early one time.
But you have to be first show of the year, and you said it's a new year. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
After that,
The year is
over.
That was a special 2023 thing. But no, if you think about it, right? For me at least, if I go in anywhere, whether it's a restaurant, store, a church, anywhere, I always look for another exit.
Yeah,
I know the door I came in, right? But where else can I get out of here? And I think it started with the tail end of my generation, and then this generation behind me, Gen Z. I'm still a millennial, but this Gen Z generation is growing up with that type of mindset, right? Because it has become so normalized for these type of shootings to happen. And with social media, we see the impact it's having on communities. I mean, you go, it's not a single place that you can list now that a mass shooting has not happened in the last 10 years. And that's sad. Church, malls, grocery store, synagogues, like it's happened not across the world. It's happened literally right in America.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's happened so much. I mean, it's right on the East Coast.
Yeah.
We can name every place that you would normally go. There's been a mass shooting. And then everywhere else, as we roll over to the Midwest, the West, South, it keeps happening.
It's our culture.
It is.
It's our culture. It's the white supremacy. It's all of that. And white male privilege, all of that.
But if black folks start getting the same guns, I guarantee you we have some better restrict laws. We'll be right back. And we're back. Well, what's going on with Shanae's Scoop?
Yes, no, I wanted to give an update on the FOIA request that you had, or violation that you had submitted to the Attorney General about Wilmington City Council had appointed 3 people over the last year. And all of those appointmentships were done in violation of FOIA, where we're supposed to vote in public, but they voted, and the majority of them said, let's vote for our person in private, right? And I'm so glad that you found the avenue to hold city council accountable, because we sit in these private meetings and I hear the conversations they're having. They know that most people are not going to challenge them. They know what they're doing. It's wrong and it was a violation. They knew that. The law department told us each time, you're not supposed to do this. You're supposed to go into executive session to create letter or number identifiers. So like you'll be A, B, C, and we'll come out and I say I vote for AB, right? So we were supposed to do that and then come out and vote, but they decided to stay in. And the person who really was the lead in charge for that actually was Councilmember Harley. She does not believe that she has to vote in public, and she convinced other people that too. So that's why we stayed into executive session. She is the main voice for staying in private executive session, and I said it.
Noticed.
And because I'm tired of it, because they think they can get away with stuff. And when they came back with the ruling, the Attorney General, that we have to vote in public, I said, yes, this is exactly what I want, right? The accountability, and they think they can get away with stuff and you can't. And they need to know
Well,
that.
they can until somebody holds them accountable.
Yeah, until someone
But it's
holds
so
them accountable.
difficult because you got so many connections and you don't have a third branch of government. I'm going to keep saying that.
Yeah, we do not have a third branch of government. We're a 2-branch government, which should be illegal in some way.
Yeah.
That we're not even a three.
Well, we're going to look into that too. Let me also, before you go off of that, I want to say this, that I've heard from several people that some of the council people were lying to some of the candidates, saying to them, hey, I'm supporting you.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm supporting you. And what ended up happening, they never were, because they already had the dictates from the mayor who was going to be the council people,
Yes.
and that's how they voted. So I hope that when they vote on whenever this is, after the budget hearing or whenever it's supposed to be, that people who were lied to see who their real friends are. Or they're going to try to fix it where you can't tell, but they should be honest and start the process afresh, the way it should be done, so people can see the truth. That people just lie and they don't want
They
to.
do. So those interviews are a waste of time.
Yeah.
Every single interview for the appointmentships, I'm sorry to the people who apply, it is a waste of time. If you're not connected or in the know, or they don't like you, you are not going to get selected. They select who they want because it's politics, right? So they're trying to figure out who would be the best person to move their agenda forward, right? So when Colby ran, I knew Colby wasn't going to make it.
did
I'm
too.
sorry. Colby, I know.
Well, he was
Colby,
telling me that certain people say, I'm agreeing, I'm with you.
he was telling me
I
that. I
like,
was like,
"Please go somewhere.
they're not going to vote for Colby. They don't like young people. I'm telling you that.
I don't
And
They don't like young people, but I also know they don't like that I'm knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And here's the thing.
And you'll challenge
I
them.
would challenge them. I would challenge this administration, and that's who I am. That's who I'm going to
They don't
continue
want
to be.
a guy version of
Right.
me.
Well, no. Hold it. Now he is. You right. Y'all, but he's not a guy version of you. He has a different. You
Well,
go at it. You're a fighter.
yeah, but
Kobe a
he do
smacker.
it very
He's
different.
a smacker. You're a fighter.
He'll do it very differently, but we'll be challengers.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And they
He
don't
would
like
challenge the
people who
status
would
quo.
challenge.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not even challenging in a bad way. I'm challenging like this could be more effective. This
Yeah.
could be better, right?
Yeah.
And then I have too many ideas, right? So it's like, no,
You're a
this could
council
be.
person who has ideas, too
Yeah,
many of them,
council people are
a
supposed to have.
vision. But see, this is what we keep dealing with.
Yeah.
And this is why it shouldn't be in the hands of the city council to decide
It should be in the
what
hands of
the
the
people want.
That's right. Yeah.
When you have multiple residents of a district come out and speak and say they want someone, and they choose someone the exact opposite, you're completely ignoring your job. But again, that comes from a very disengaged members of council. You have people who always love trying to spin the story to their favor. People like Maria Cabrera, who tries to put on a front that she's for the community. And she likes trying to buddy up with people. And I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about with the actual community.
Right.
But then votes against their best interests. She's doing this right now with a lot of landlords and tenants, playing both sides.
Wow.
Throwing them under the bus. When she's in front of the landlords, she throws tenants under the bus. When she's in front of tenants, she throws landlords under the bus, saying she doesn't know any good landlords. And then when she's in front of the landlords, she's saying that all tenants are horrible, all these people. But then you go running to them for votes.
Wow.
And this is what keeps happening.
Wow. I hope those of you who are watching pay attention. Let's make 24th of a year. Let's clean the house. Let's clean the. I mean, because it wasn't even supposed to be brought out this way today, but it is because it's just too much. We decided to challenge the system. We put the FOIA request in. We knew it was wrong, but they did not believe nobody would have the guts. And what did it cost me? What did it cost me? Because I stood up for you. It costs to make sure that my project did not get approved in Southbridge. I'm even having problems with the land bank that the mayor controls. It's just too much. And I don't want to keep getting into it to my stuff personally, but this is what it costs leadership when they have a thought, when a person and persons who challenge the system not to be contrary, but to make sure it is effectively being used. It costs a whole lot. Cost committees. It costs you. We're gonna support you, Kobe. We got you. We got you. You who we need. And then when they get in their private meetings, they make sure he's nowhere to be accepted or found. And that's just not fair. Just not fair.
Yeah, they definitely want to control the council, so they're selecting
Well,
who they want.
it's
So
a new day.
yeah, it's a new day, and as you were talking about, like the project that you're working on with housing for seniors, right in your same backyard in your neighborhood, there is a blighted building that was turned into affordable housing for seniors who are veterans.
Okay, you say that right.
Veterans who are seniors, whatever way you want to put it.
Yeah.
Right. So I just think I think there might be some targeting there. If they allow this project, why wouldn't your project
Because
be
I
allowed?
spoke up.
Right.
Because I spoke up, and I'm Pastor Curry, and there's a high level of jealousy in a lot of communities. So, but it's all right.
Yeah,
Let me
but
just say this to you. That's awesome. So, talk a little bit about that, because I want to really, because I'm supporting this senior veteran house that is there. I'm supporting it 100%.
Yeah. So, basically, like some of the history they gave in the article is like an eyesore. The community has been vacant since 2010. It was a few businesses in there before 2010. However, it also was burned down during the riots when Martin Luther King. Just some background on the building, and it's on South Hill Street.
Yes.
518 South Hill Street and South Bridge.
Yeah.
But it's a mother-father duo.
Okay.
A father-daughter duo, sorry. So the daughter, she went through Jumpstart Wilmington program, which works with local people to become developers and to create affordable housing. I actually was a participant last January, February. I had graduated from their cohort. So I'm excited to see that she was a part of Wilmington Jumpstart program. But she was able to transform the inside with housing for veterans who are seniors, and it looks really good. Like I am excited to have this. That is a population, homeless seniors, veterans who need this, right? Who we don't have a lot of affordable permanent housing happening in the city. We have these luxury apartments that are coming up and they're not affordable for most people. So I was just excited. I thought it was a story to like share.
Yes.
There are people out there willing to do the right thing who wants to center around affordable housing for people and not just luxury homes or luxury apartments in our city. So no, I just think it's a great initiative. It's like, how do we invest in our community that wants to invest in itself,
Amen.
right? So I thought it was a good
And
initiative.
not only your thought was on point because I think that's going to be very important for the voiceless and for them to be veteran and seniors. That's great. And I'm just hoping that as we move forward, and I heard they're going to do this is going to be like a model
Yeah, it's a
where they're
big,
going to be doing it several places. They're not going to
Yeah.
just be doing it here. So I think this is just superb.
yeah, they have a commercial part too, and I think they're talking about this is a Southbridge is a bank desert. There's no bank here, so they're talking about even talking to Del One to try to get a bank
Okay.
in the
Excellent.
community, right? So those are great things. Like we have a lot
Excellent.
of bank desert. It'd be great to get a black-owned bank here, but you know, I'm
We tried
cool
that.
with
And
it.
United Bank.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, it would
we
be cool
tried
to do
it, but
that.
you know, us black folk got to get together. Those who have a couple of dollars need to get together and say, you know, all these churches and say, let's all put our money in one spot so that
The
can happen.
churches can do it.
Oh yes, Lord,
All
but I'm not gonna
right.
say nothing about that because they're gonna beat me up. Yeah.
But yeah, no, and then I don't know. You had something you was gonna say about it?
No, I just wanted to say Marva, one of the
Okay.
co-owners, founders, I don't know what the actual title is, but
Mm-hmm.
has worked with the State Housing Authority, actually works for the State Housing
Mm-hmm.
Authority. And I've seen the work she's done in her actual job. And she has a very big heart for
I
helping
love it.
individuals
Excellent.
make sure that they're housed. So I'm definitely looking forward to see this project grow. And see what comes of it as well too.
What I'm going to ask our team to do is when they get it, they almost finished. We're going to probably take some pictures and put it on the show again because I'm just for it. I'm for helping community, those who don't have, those who are less fortunate. All
Right.
this luxury stuff I see building up, it's just a way of getting regentrification happening. I'm really interested in seeing community become community.
I agree.
And even with the young man was shot who was having a meltdown, it was right there, one block from that
From
same
that
area.
area,
So
yeah.
the help is needed, especially for our veterans who have worked hard for us. Did you have anything else on your agenda?
Yeah, I just kind of, I know last week we kind of hit on Ingleside senior housing over on, I don't remember what street it's on. I can get the address for you guys. But the seniors are having a lot of issues with some housing code violations. And one of the biggest one is bed bug infestation.
Yeah.
I literally went to do a visit and I was like, I'm taking everything off when I get before I walk in my house. Literally, I saw people's arms, backs, face being eaten alive by bed bugs. Some guy was like he had to go spend the night at the hotel for a few nights and never been reimbursed. By law they're supposed to be reimbursed, but you are supposed to do, he didn't do proper protocol in notifying them. So we did a workshop to teach them about their rights as tenants, right? So letting them know, document. You have resources, you have the tenants union, you have Classy, which is a legal service that can help tenants who are in situations like this, because bed bug infestation is a violation.
Okay.
And here's a few things with that, right? So there's an infestation of bed bugs there right now. There are new people moving in who've asked questions about this
And been told they took care of it.
oh no,
We took care of it.
that was old. It's been taken
Lie.
care of. Lying to these people. See, here's the issue. You have administration under Mayor Pazicki that will not do anything to address a issue like this. And this isn't the only place that has a bed bug
Yeah, it's
infestation
most
right
of the
now.
senior houses.
Most of the senior high rises right now are having
Wow.
some type of issue.
Yep.
Two, you have Ingleside has their own attorneys as well too. They called to complain that outside groups were coming in and having giving residents information about their rights, and that shouldn't be allowed.
Oh.
They went at Classy for that. And then on top of that, the residents had a meeting back in January.
And they called
a meeting of themselves who live in a building,
in a public space.
and they were talking about the bed bugs infestation. So the building called the police on them.
Unacceptable.
on the scene.
I
On the
saw the
scenes.
property manager in action and how she treated and how she talks to the people there. And we can't legislate that or create anything, but just how you treat seniors and how you talk to them.
Mhm.
I was shocked she did that in front of us, like how she talked to him, what she was saying to him. Like she was very like it was not in a nice tone. It was very
Yeah.
disrespectful, and a lot of them was just like, "Why are you talking to me that way? You don't have to talk to us."
Yeah, we're
in that
gonna have to, and because there's no third level of government in the city of Wilmington, this is what we're left with, just to talk about it, and that's a shame.
hmm
That's a disgrace.
And you talk about the administration that we asked city council. One thing I can say about city council, because we all agreed on that we want $2 million for the housing opportunity fund. We put that into the budget in the beginning. The mayor administration is not interested in including that.
Mm.
So you talk about administration not interested in housing. That is Mayor Mike Przicki.
Mm. So we're gonna see. Watch this. If they approve the budget with or without it.
Yes, well, city council claims, my other council colleagues, but you can't
Okay.
trust everything
I
they
ain't got
say.
nothing else to say. We're gonna
Let's
say.
see.
If I don't see nothing else in the budget, I want to see the 2 million if it gets passed.
Yep.
If we don't, if it doesn't get passed, I'm just gonna blow dust.
Yep.
Thank you so very much, Janae.
Yes.
Great reporting. We'll be right back. And we're back. Kobe, 99 shows. We one more before we get to 100. You've been here through all of them.
One more.
Tell me what's going on with the Kobe Quarter.
Yeah, so one, I want to start off on a national level, but it's being led by someone from Delaware. Earlier this week, our Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester, announced a package of 7 bills on the federal level that have all of them have bipartisan support. And will be introduced in both chambers if they haven't been introduced already. That is a part of her jobs agenda, right?
Thank you.
And of course, she's working with the White House and being a leader on this. But I just want to talk about some of these bills. A few years ago, I wrote an article on the Clean Slate Act and the work that Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester was doing just a few years ago. Since then, she has really rolled up her sleeves and got even more support for this bill. And it's a bipartisan bill that would remove major barriers for many of Americans who've been through the justice system to find employment, secure housing, and access to education by automatically sealing their federal records for low-level nonviolent drug offenses after they successfully completed their sentence. This would be huge, especially when we're talking about legalizing marijuana and everything.
Yeah.
Those who have federal charges. Another one that's really big is the Jobs Act, which will expand eligibility for the federal Pell Grant program for individuals interested in pursuing short-term, high-quality education and training programs to address the worker shortage. This is huge. Usually, you have to go for 4 years to qualify for Pell. This is for specialty trainings as well too, which is going to be a huge help for individuals who are in low-income situations. Next is the Housing Supplies and Affordability Act. This is creating a new housing policy grant, LHPC program, administered by the Secretary of HUD. And again, this will speak to addressing the lack of affordable housing supply we have, not only here in Delaware, where we're about 18,000 units short, but throughout the entire nation, right? And I would hope that when that money comes in to places like the city of Wilmington, it is actually used for what it should be. We have gotten affordable housing money in the city of Wilmington, and this administration has given it in the form of tax credits or tax incentives to make up the difference for big developers to come in and build new luxury apartments that only have maybe 10 units in them that are set aside for affordability. Next is the Building Resilient Supply Chain, which is a $41 billion of funding for the fiscal year 2024 through 2028 to support grants, loan grantees, and that support development, diversification, preservation, improvement, restoration, and expansion of supply chain and domestic manufacturing of goods, industrial equipment, and manufacturing technology. That is going to be huge, speaking to the rise of inflation right now. If you look at the car industry right now, a lot of the car industry is struggling and does not have a supply on their lot for the sole purpose of manufacturing in America has gone down, and they're looking to address that. We had chips. Now, this is the second part to really mass produce across the board. Again, another one is the Supply Chain Act, which again is going to be led by the Assistant Secretary of Department of Commerce to map and monitor supply chains and identify vulnerabilities, and directs the office to establish standards and best practices for U.S. Companies to address supply chain vulnerabilities. Next is the National Nursing Workforce Center Act. It's a 3-year pilot program through the Health Resources and Services Administrator to support state-based nursing workforce centers to rebuild that workforce there. And then the next one and the final one is the Immersive Technology of American Workforce Act, which is creating a 5-year grant program through the Department of Labor to support community colleges, careers, and technology education centers in developing education and training programs for workforce development utilizing immersive technology. And that's going to be critical as we start to look at the outcomes of COVID-19, right? We have going more to a tech based society over the last 3 years, but our workforce has not kept up with that. So that's going to be huge there. Next, I want to bring it back to the state level. And it's a bill that may be a little controversial to some, but I think it's a good bill. It's a critical bill when, you're trying to get individuals involved in our civic process here. And that's HB 96, which has been introduced in the State House by Representative Eric Morrison, and the Senate sponsor is Senator Sarah McBride. And what it does is it moves for school board elections, electing members, voting to elect members of the school board, and moves the age from 18 to 16.
Oh, wow.
It has been done in other states, and they've seen a huge increase in the amount of young people who are not only voting in their school board elections, but those 16 and 17-year-olds, once they become 18-year-olds, have become high volume voters. They vote in not only their school board, but they vote in their general, primary, and presidential
Do you think you get the
elections.
support for that? Do you think they get
Yeah.
the support for that?
Yeah, I think it will get the support it's needed. You're gonna have some people who push back on it, but I think overall it should pass. And again, there's it creates a education learners permit, driver learners permit, level 1 for documentation to show your age and everything.
Wow,
So-
that's excellent. I'm gonna watch the HB 96.
yeah, so it would go into effect January 1st of the year after it's signed into law. So if it's signed in 2023, it'll go into effect January 1st, 2024. And that's huge. But speaking of 16-year-olds voting in school board elections, I want to talk about our upcoming school board elections.
Yeah.
We are just a little over a month out, or maybe a little less than a month out of the May 9th, Tuesday, May 9th school board elections. If you live in this area of the city of Wilmington, you have no election if you live in Brandywine School District, but you have a major one if you live in Christina or Red Clay
Yeah.
School Board. In Red Clay, it is critical because I want to talk about seat A. Seat A has a seat on the Wilmington Learning Collaborative, which is going to have even more power over what happens with our students here in the city of Wilmington. Now, there's other seats up, but seat A is critical. It's the nominating district is the district from the city of Wilmington, and you have you have two people running for it. You have John Scully, who is a Republican who is signed on to Kevin McCarthy's or they're calling it a parent's bill of rights, but what it is, it takes away the power from teachers, administrators to actually do what they need to do in schools to make sure that they're educating students. And then you have a young dynamic African American woman, Ajay English Wing, who's running. She's a Gilliam fellow. She is a graduate of the school district. She went to AI high school. Who is coming back. I believe she works for the city currently, but she is coming back to give back to the community that raised her, who's also running in this election. I think this is me personally. This isn't a show that I'm speaking on behalf of Kobe J. Owens. I think her voice will be needed. Not only on the school board, but on the Wilmington Learning Collaborative. I think she will bring a dynamic from a recent grad. Well, not recent, but
I understand.
a younger generation than some of the people who are currently there, who
Shade.
understands the demographics of what's going on, especially raising a kid in the school district as well too. So again, we saw how that benefited the school board when we elected Kesey Neesmith, who had 2 students in the school district at that time.
Yeah.
So I think we need more parents who understand what their students are going through, what it is to be a parent, and then also can work with educators
Right.
I
across.
agree.
When is that election going to be?
That is May 9th.
So what I would like to do is if you can invite her to the Coffee with Curry show so we can have a
Yes.
sit down. Because I think it's going to be important just to sit down, let's talk about it, and have her to talk about it. And even if you want to switch with me and it'd be Coffee with Kobe show for just one day, so that you can get some of her agenda out there and get it out, share with the community why it's so important that we
To vote
vote in
school
this and to
board, man.
vote her in, and the proven track record from the last time we put somebody in. Thank you so very much, Brother Kobe. Appreciate you so much.
But yeah, that's all I have in this section.
All right, we'll be right back. Because homegirl forgot to turn the
Yeah.
thing on. And we're back. This is the last part of the show, but I want to go national one more time. And I just want to say, because I keep saying to Sister Shanae and to you, Kobe, as well, that what you do matter. People don't like to hear your voices because you're trying to speak for the people and they think you're speaking for your own agenda. But what happened in Tennessee by those millennials, whom some of us who are not millennials have some trepidation with, I think, before I even let y'all talk on the Justin and the Justin, whatever y'all want to talk about, I think that the city of Wilmington, the state of Delaware need to get ready because the baby, see, I was talking about that baby when you messed me up, but the millennials are coming,
We are.
and they are coming strong, and they don't do things the way the old school did things.
No, absolutely.
They don't sit back and just let things happen and shut up and be a lady. No, you fight for the people. You tell them what you're going to do, and you do it. These 2 men was expelled. I ain't gonna talk about the white woman because she's still hanging with them. She's still, but that shows you the racism.
Yeah.
But these 2 young brother millennials, articulate to the T.
I thought they did a recount and she was expelled the second time.
No, she was never expelled. They ain't gonna expel no white woman. Let me finish my point.
All
By
right.
1 vote, she stayed.
Because they and what they wanted to do was make it look like it. But let's jump back on this. These brothers did a very good job with pushing to the place where they were expelled, but now they propelled. They have opened up a movement that is going to be talked about for years. And for those who are concerned about Shanae Darby and Kobe Owens, you better stop being concerned and jump on board. Because at the end of the day, how long do you have to be lied to? How long do you have to be told we'll see what we can do? If they won't, what did James Brown say? Don't give me nothing. I can't say what he said. I'll get it myself. You ain't got to open up no doors. I'll get it myself. So I was so impressed. I sat and watched them. I read the articles. Hats off to them. They back,
Yeah.
and I'm glad they were in a district that said if you expel them, we're gonna put them right back. So y'all go ahead and say what y'all want to say.
So
That's what I said. Can they just vote them back in?
So they did. They both been reinstated.
Yes.
So their laws there, whereas our city council selects who gets to serve on a body with them, they're elected to the state house.
Right.
And in Nashville, if there's a vacancy, the Nashville Metro City Council selects who gets to replace that person.
Mhm.
In Selby County, where Justin Parsons is from, the county council gets to select it. The Metro Council, 36-0,
This-
reinstated Justin Jones. And the Selby County County Council, county commissioners, 7-0,
Mhm.
reinstated Justin Parsons. Justin Jones has been sworn in already. At the time of this filming, Justin Parsons should be getting sworn in later today.
Mhm.
If there's no obstruction.
Mhm.
I have a question though. The same people who expelled them are the same people who are going to propel them?
No.
No.
No, how did that work?
So here's the thing.
That's what I'm like, okay.
It still has to be a special election for their seats later this year.
Right. Which is not a
So
problem.
I already talked to both of them. I'm doing fundraising for them. We raised $50,000 for both of them already. And that's I will say, all people across the Democratic Party, state party chairs, vice chairs, the black leaders in these different states all came together and we made calls the night that they were expelled and got a fund going already. Elizabeth Warren has one going that's raised, I think hers is raised a lot more than us, but she's a U.S. Senator. But they have to win their special elections. Once they win their special elections, they are fully back in no matter what until the next election cycle. But this also gives them the opportunity. They have a lot of ways they can go with this. They united a movement in Tennessee unlike any other.
Yeah.
And why they are millennials, I just want to echo the words of Justin Parsons that he said when he was in the well. He said, I believe that I'm in the well today because with the courage of the ancestors, family, and loved ones in the community, they stood up, and so do I. So it's understanding that we come from a long history of fighting back against oppression. And that what happened and what led to this was the fact that 6 people, including 3 9-year-olds, were killed.
That's the kid.
But the General Assembly, the state house, instead of taking action on gun reform, they decided that they want to punish 2 young black men. While there was 3 people who protested, they tried to justify it by saying the reason why they kicked out the 2 black people is because they held the bullhorn.
Yeah.
They raised their voice.
Yeah.
They didn't have the
Angry black men. Yeah.
Now, Representative Jackson, Gloria Jackson, the white woman who was with them, after they voted to try to expel her, but it lost by 1 vote, and you can't be voted on twice in their own laws. She said, the reason why I'm still here is because I'm white.
She did say that. She did.
She said, the reason I'm still here is because I'm white. But then went on to say that some of these same members of the House who did not put up expulsion for a child predator,
that was
for a convicted felon who was convicted of bribery, they in a KKK grand wizard chose not to do anything but for those 3, but did something for the 2 black men. I'll say this: I think both of them have a very bright future. And the governor of Tennessee came out Tuesday and urged the state's legislators to pass additional gun control measures, including better background checks, and really looking into what some of the issue is going on in Tennessee with the guns. This is a complete 180 from when they first had that protest. But I think the governor sees what's going on.
He see it, and he see the hatchet coming towards him, so he humbles up quick.
Thousands of kids are walking out
and
their
listen,
school.
this is what the unreported stuff, like it was some Republicans out there protesting too. Just like with this whole abortion thing, it's the Republican Party is not understanding the tone of America. It is not what the Republicans are trying to push. And I really should get into this whole Republican Democrat thing because both of them got corruption crazy. But it's you got to pay attention to what the people want. That's what democracy is. Democracy is here. And even though I disagree with them passing the marijuana law. I live in America. Okay, I understand the legislative side of it, but I also know some of the effects of it. But I'm not gonna sit here and penalize you because you said you believe in or you believe in. No, that being in America gives me a right to choose what I want to do and be treated fairly, not dictated to. And the millennials, boy, y'all got on my nerves so much. You still do, but y'all ain't hearing it. If you are the establishment and the establishment is not doing what needs to be done, y'all tearing it down.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm college educated. I'm loving it. I don't have to agree with you. I love when people stand up. So when you know you've given the full details of what happened, and to answer your question, they're gonna win those elections. And I feel sorry for the person who even try to run against them.
Yeah.
I
But
feel
they're gonna
sorry.
put somebody up.
But I feel sorry
I feel
for the
sorry for them
person
too.
that he's going to try. But I don't think they are. I really don't think. I think just like they got unanimously put back in, I think that they're going to go unopposed and they're going to go right back into the same house. And they hope they can use that money to help campaign and get some of those those white racist people out of the well, as y'all like to call it. You know, wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Be not worried, Sister Shanae.
Yeah.
Just hold on. You had to.
Holding.
What did Hillary Clinton say? I didn't win, but I punched how many million of dents in the ceiling, the glass ceiling?
7 million.
Like 7 million dents in it. Some of the things that you want to do, and they just blocking you. You don't worry about you putting a dent. You're getting ready for somebody else, but you're gonna be there to enjoy it. You're gonna be there to enjoy it. And I've been watching how people have been promising you can do this, and the community even asked for you to go into the city council, and they just omitted that and went with somebody else. Watch 2024. I don't prognosticate too often. As a preacher, we got to always prophesy, but I don't prognosticate often. But watch what 2024 bring about. And if the mayor believes that he's just going to do what he want to do and walk in, the black folks are really that dumb, you got another thing coming. Because what you do to the least, you do it unto God. We'll be right back. No, we won't be right back.
That's it.
Anything else from you?
Nothing else.
Anything else from
Nothing
you?
from me.
Hey, this is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
Shanae Darby.
See ya.
Take care, y'all.
Talk soon.
All right, I was great. Go back, but I like to see that.